My particular passion, and Todd is joining us because Todd and I are working on something together that relates very closely to what we're doing. And so let me tell you about that first. Over the last 3 or 4 years, I have been working with several different fan productions, Star Trek fan productions, different series that are kind of run by fans and cast by fans, acted by fans. And over those last few years, I decided that I really wanted to do one of our own. And I wanted it to make it the best one ever. And I wanted it to be something where where we had like really good actors playing the roles. That was really something that stuck out to me. And I think you guys probably know what I'm talking about. A lot of fan films are usually, the acting is usually the weakest link because they're fans, and sometimes there are people that have no business being in a uniform, if you know what I mean. And they're just fans, and that's cool, but I wanted to do something more. I wanted to do something that really honored the original series, and the relationships and the depth and the pathos of the original series of Star Trek. So I decided to put together a group of guys, and we acquired a nearly 10,000 square foot facility in Kingsland, Georgia.
Lando Calrissian lost it in a game of Sabak.
And it's basically you fly to Jacksonville, and it's a half an hour from Jacksonville, so it's a fully developed, great little town there. And we have this facility, and what we have done is we are rebuilding the entire soundstage from the original series of Star Trek. I'm talking like, it's going to be fantastic. Absolutely, this is fun. The bridge, the big bending corridor, briefing room, sick bay, transporter room, captain's quarters. It's going to be breathtaking because it will be something that no one has ever done since the late 60s when the original series was in production. And that is to be able to go to this facility and literally walk through all of the standing sets and go down the corridor into the transport room and back in the corridor and down to the briefing room. It's very exciting for people that are fans of the original series, like me and a lot of other people. And just like you guys are fans of anime and video games, when I was your age, I was a fan of Star Trek, the original series. Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, they were the best. All the other series are great. I know that a lot of you grew up to Next Gen, and Deep Space Nine, and Voyager, but for me, the original was like the best. So I am realizing the childhood dream of getting to play Captain Kirk in the series. And so here, I'll show you in case you didn't see. Like, here's an example. I guess maybe I can just click on it. Yeah. I knew that one. Look at
that tuning. That's a form-fitted tuning, custom made from a Mignogna figure.
Or something like that. Let's see. And you know what? Just to give you an idea, look, this is me at 12 years old playing Star Trek. So you see what a nerd I was. I know, I didn't last very long, did I? In that world. And then in college, I'm still doing it. I just can't get away from it. Love it. I don't even know how do you maximize on PCs.
The middle one.
Well, no, it's really maximized. It's just so big. And oh, it's okay. We'll just work through here. Okay, but now here, let's meet some of the rest of our cast. By the way, the series is going to be called Star Trek Continues. Simple enough, right? Because what we're doing is we're picking up exactly where the original series left off. Who's a big enough fan of the original series who can tell me what the last episode ever aired was? I know you do. Anyone else?
Return to the Jedi. I remember it. Those triples were dancing in their village.
It was called Turnabout Trooper. I love this guy. I love this guy. Now, In this episode, this very last episode, and you may even know it, you just didn't know the title. This was an episode where this woman that Kirk used to have a relationship with years earlier, he dumped her, basically, years ago, and she never got over it, which is understandable. But, and by the way, I will not be doing Kirk like that in this series.
Much to my chagrin, actually.
But, so she never got over it. And she went on to become a scientist, and she found some equipment on a planet, and she lured the Enterprise there under false pretenses, and she used this equipment to switch bodies with Kirk. She had been studying how to be a captain of a starship. She'd been training and studying and reading all the books and manuals so that she could assume his life, basically, as a means of vengeance. And so the whole episode, Kirk his body is inhabited by this woman, and Kirk's consciousness is in her body. And at the very end, she tries to what's the word? Not assassinate. Execute. She tries to execute Kirk's consciousness while he's in her body, because that's the only way she can stay in his body. And the plan is thwarted, and they switch back into their consciousnesses, and she realizes that she's back in her body, and she kind of has a breakdown, and they take her off down the hallway, and Kirk and Spock and Scotty are standing in the hallway, watching her walk away, and Kirk says, "I didn't want to destroy her." And Spock says, "I think we all understand that, Captain." And Kirk says, "Her life could have been as rich as any woman's, if only. And they turn and they walk away, and they walk into the turbo lift, and the door's shut, and that's the last anyone ever saw of the original series of Star Trek. Well, what we are going to do is, we are recreating the last minute of that episode, shot for shot, frame for frame, every moment exactly as the last episode, that last minute was. But when they step into the turbo lift and the door's shut, instantaneously the camera is now in the turbo lift and the scene continues. Like it never ended. And then they step out onto the bridge and the scene continues. And it continues. Star Trek continues. And we are shooting our first full episode in October. By the way, the scene I just told you about has already been shot. We got our cast together in May, and we went down to the sets and we shot. And I don't know if any of you happen to be anywhere near Baltimore, Maryland. This
population 1.
There is a Star Trek there's a Star Trek convention, a long-time Star Trek convention in Baltimore called Shore Leave. And we are going to be premiering that vignette for the first time anyone has ever seen it at Shore Leave in August, first weekend in August. Now, let me introduce you to some of our cast. The guy that's playing Scotty will be coming with me to Shore Leave. Who can tell me who played Scotty in the original series? Excuse me, Scotty? Alex Scotty in the original series. James Doohan. Guess who's playing Scotty in our series? What? Huh? His son, Chris Doohan. And how freaking cool is that, you guys? I mean, this is his son.
And he's great, spot on Scotty impression. He's awesome.
And you know what's really cool, you guys? When he was 6 and 7 years old, he used to go to the sets with his dad while they were shooting the original series of Star Trek. It was the coolest thing to walk on the bridge a few weeks ago when we were down there in May, to walk onto the bridge with Chris Doohan and have him go, because he was the only one of us who actually was on the original set when he was a little boy.
Yeah, for this, I mean, these sets, it's easy to say, well, we're going to recreate these sets, and not really take in what that means. I mean, it's going to be a big undertaking. I mean, how long have they been working on construction?
Yeah, quite a while. Can you give me a hand here real quick, somebody? Hop over here real quick. Step on over.
So yeah, when we recreate these sets, I mean, it's down to the T, down to the. You should have seen Vic on these sets when he's talking about stuff that's on the wall. He's like, okay, actually, this is not exaggeration. This is actually 3 millimeters down. It's going to be to the T, and he's like, take it off the wall. It's actually supposed to be here. Look at this video. See, it's right there. And when we were recreating the shots, he knows Trek. He knows Trek. Like I know Mega Man 10. There is no boss that I don't know his weakness. There's no way that I don't know how to beat those levels, and that's what he's like with Star Trek. And so, it's great to reconstruct the sets and have professional crew and cast in front of and behind the camera and everything. It helps all of it run much smoother.
There's another great picture of him. So, I mean, he's just awesome. Now, I'm sure some of you may be wondering, well, who's playing Mr. Spock? Well, I think that's easy enough to guess, isn't it? Yeah, Mr. Todd Haberkorn!
That's 3 hours in the makeup chair, my friend. I'm the first one in that building at 6 a.m. That's my favorite. This is my favorite shot. I mean, that's a really good.
Now, how many of you have seen this? Looks familiar to you? Yeah. There was a TV Guide cover in 1969 with Kirk and Spock on it, and it was this pose, this lighting, and then when the new movie came out, they recreated this shot with Chris Pine and Zach Quinto, and we were down on the sets and we're like, we have to do this shot. So we took this picture. So now you're probably wondering, well, who's playing Dr. McCoy? Well, I'm glad you asked, because it's another great talented actor and voice actor whose name is Chuck Huber. Yeah, right? Yeah, Dr. Sandy from Solar. It's really bright in here. I mean, I want you guys to see him better, but just the lights are pretty better. Anyway, now, but it just gets better. It just gets better. How many of you guys have ever watched Mythbusters? Yeah. Guess who's playing Sulu? Grant from Mythbusters. Grant Imahara from Mythbusters is playing Sulu. Now, I'm going to tell you something I think you guys are really going to like about this kid. He's the coolest kid ever.
Yeah, he's really nice. He's really cool.
His name is Wyatt Lenhart. Now, let me tell you why Wyatt is very special and why you should really like Wyatt. Ooh, there you go. One reason you might really like Wyatt is I met him at an anime convention. He's an anime fan. And he came to every one of the little Star Trek trivia panels that I've ever done at any convention he's ever been at. And he grew up, his dad watched the original series when he was very little, and he loves the original series. Even though he's like 19 or 20, his dad sat him down and they watched the original series. So Wyatt is a big fan, and he is like the perfect Chekhov. He's playing Chekhov in the series, and he's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
And he kind of represents like the anime world, the anime fans. Any of you guys out there who are like, man, I could never get a chance to be a part of something like that. Here's proof positive that you can, that it's certainly possible. Now, there's also a beautiful young lady who has been a part of some other Star Trek fan series, but she's decided to join us. She's an actress in LA, and her name is Kim Stenger, and she plays Lieutenant Uhura. And she's beautiful. Let's see, and then here's just a nice shot of all of this. Which is, you remember this shot? You remember this shot? It's a very classic pose from the original series. Can you guys see her there?
If you see this ship a rocking.
So we're very, very excited, and I tell you what, before we do any trivia stuff, does anyone have any we saw that. Does anyone have any questions about this new series that You can hey, write it down, StarTrekContinues.com. You can go to the website. In fact, we've got a gentleman who's we've got an amazing professional who's going to be working with our website, and he
is the bee's knees.
Yes, and it's going to be top of the line stuff, and you can go there and you can check out the cast. And as it is being developed, the episodes will be available there. There'll be contact information. There'll be a gallery with still photos.
Yes, one of the good things about being half Vulcan is that you get to see websites before they come out, and it looks awesome. It really captures the feel, the original series. I mean, that's the thing that Vic's going for, and that's why I think it was really good to get Steve on board for creating this, because they both love Star Trek. They both get the authenticity. They want that. Both of them very much in their respective fields, and so it's going to be a nice union, you know.
All the people that are involved, you guys, are big fans of the original series, and that's what drives us. By the way, here let me answer a couple of questions that I know you're probably going to ask. Is this a commercial series? Are you hoping it's going to get picked up by a studio? No and no. This is a pure labor of love. This is something that I have dreamed of doing since I was 12 years old. You saw the picture. And so me and everyone else involved are giving our time and money and talent and skills to make this a reality. Now the cool thing is, though, that everybody that's involved are professionals and skilled at what they do. So like our DP, our director of photography, he's about as amazing as they come, but he happens to be a Star Trek fan. So he is bringing his skills as a director of photography to something that he enjoys. All of us are the same. The sound man, the lighting guys, the prop guys, the people building the sets, website, costumes, you name it, special effects.
Tom did you remember what he did, the guy that did my ears?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He was the makeup artist for Buffy, and I was
yeah, the guy that cast Todd's ears so that we could have custom, they fit perfectly the way Leonard Nimoy's did, is an Academy Award winning makeup artist. So we're talking about people that when they're like me, when they were 12 and 13, they were big fans, and then they grew up and they became skilled at different things, and now they want to use the skills they've developed to do something that they've always had a passion.
Did you see the show when it originally aired?
No. Okay. I had just caught it when it started in the early 70s. So it was like when it first hit reruns. So let's see.
Okay, they took it off the air. So I don't understand. They canceled it, but then they put it in reruns because
they started selling it in syndication, and people started, other stations would buy it. They started airing it, and people just couldn't get enough of it, and that's when it really took off, was in syndication. That's true, yeah, the animated series. They started doing the animated series with all the original actors voicing their characters. Let's see. Does anyone have any questions about Star Trek Continues? Yes? Yeah? Oh, like episodes.
One a week. We're giving up voice acting, and we're just going to do the show.
And by we, you mean Tim.
I'm going to get implants for the ears.
Yeah, it's easier that way. We're just going to have them surgically changed.
Yeah, I'm going to get an implants.
You know how much time that would save you in makeup? I think you should think about that.
Get those 3 extra hours of sleep every day.
We are definitely going to do one a year, but here's the cool thing, you guys, and this is something that no other fan series has ever been able to do. If you build the sets, and they're standing sets,
they will come.
You can shoot anytime you want. Think about it. If the sets are just waiting for you at your studio in Georgia, the moment you come up with a script that you like, get everybody together and go shoot it.
And the cool thing is we've got probably 5 good episode ideas.
Oh yeah,
5 or 6 that we're.
Oh, that reminds me. Our first episode is being written right now. It is a sequel to an original series episode that was one of the more popular episodes. But here's the best part: the guest star that played the role in the original episode is reprising his role in our episode. So we've got the same guy that played his role in the original episode playing his role in our episode too. It's awesome. Yes, it's David Cross.
Vader walks on the bridge.
This is the Raw television show.
So let's see what else. A question? Yes.
Maybe I wasn't born to raise a single average.
Some things you just can't teach, and he knows it. Yes. Oh my gosh! I should even tell you guys also to let you know that it's always, you never know where opportunities are going to come, and just from the people that you meet at anime events. A dear friend of mine, Britt Dvorak over here. Stand up, Britt, so everybody can see your cute face. Britt is studying film and production, and she asked me if she could come and help us. And so she came down last fall and assisted with a directing. I directed an episode for another fan series called Starship Farragut. They're a great bunch of guys who have developed a series that follows another starship. The Farragut was one of the other starships in the fleet. They create their own captain, their own crew, and it's their own adventures. And they're the ones that we partnered with. So they're going to shoot their Starship Farragut episodes on the sets. We will shoot the Star Trek Continues episodes on the sets. We'll share the sets, and the cast will be different, the stories will be different.
And we've got a Star Trek cover band.
Star Trek Rave, next door.
Yeah.
So, who's got a question? Yeah.
Okay, I understand, Vic, how you got the role of Captain Kirk, but how did you get Todd to be Mr. Spock?
Let's see. So it was very, I fought for it. So I had to audition. You know, you ask it sometimes at panels, like, when do you audition, or the role, or you just are given them, things like that. No, I had to fight for this role. Like, we went back and forth a lot and talked about it, because there are a lot of balls in the air when it comes to production and doing something like this, because we are looking at everything so carefully and wanting everything to be just right. There's a lot of decisions that need to be made. But when I did my audition, I shot it on green screen, and we inserted me into the original footage of the show.
He did way more than he needed to.
Yeah, and so when it's like you're watching an episode of the show, and then there's a half Asian. So
let me tell you guys something about that. Wow, you're going at it right next door.
It's
not open that door.
It's a song about Romulus. That's what it is. For a brief time, I was partnering with a couple of other gentlemen, and we had talked about Mr. Spock, and I had originally wanted Todd to play Spock, and they said, well, we think he's too young. And so they kind of overruled me because it was 2 against 1, and they wanted to go with this other guy. Well, when my partnership ended with those 2 guys, and I was able to make my own choices, I thought, well, you know what, yes, Todd is young, true, Leonard Nimoy was older, but Todd is a great actor. And to me, that's much more important than casting somebody who just happens to look older. Well, then you're going to get used to that in about 30 seconds. And then if the guy can't act, it's not going to matter that he's the right age. You know what I mean? So, and I knew that Todd, his size and his acting ability and his look, he's got that great exotic long face and his... You can do that eyebrow. And I'm a hell of a nerve pincher. But also, Vic and I have known each other for a long time. So, you can't... That's the type of stuff that that's when you watch Lord of the Rings and stuff, and they filmed it all together, all 3 of them at once. That's very, very smart, because you can't recreate that chemistry together like that.
And which is another reason why I thought it would be great to cast Chuck Huber as Dr. McCoy, because I know Chuck. He's an amazing actor, and we know each other so well, and Todd as well. So, Kirk, Spock, McCoy, the big 3, so to speak, they had a really great relationship in the original series. That was something that a lot of fan series they just never get it. They never quite capture it.
Never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it.
Wow, wow, wow! All the way in the back, the young lady. Oh, there you go. You got a microphone.
Can you tell me how difficult it was to acquire the rights to do this and how
Easy. It's just
Yeah, that's precisely why we're not charging any money or selling the episodes, because it's copyrighted, clearly copyrighted material. But my understanding from years of working with other fan series is CBS's policy about this is if you're just doing a fan thing and you're not charging money for it, we'll leave you alone. But don't be trying to make a profit off of our product.
don't try to make it rain.
So we're not charging any money for it. We're literally, it's going to cost me a ton to make this thing, and I'm fine with that.
That's my second
Good.
question. Where does the funding come from?
You're looking at the funding, my friend.
I know you said you want to share the facilities with another group, but nonetheless, obviously you have a facility that you're, a building structure that you're using.
Yes.
And where did the funding or investment come from for that?
It came from this right here. Quite honestly, no, I'm being very honest. The Farragut, the Starship Farragut people that I told you about, they had their little series, they had their own little thing going on. They had a small studio, and they had just enough room for the bridge. And they would build other pieces that they needed, but they could only do so much themselves. And I could only do so much myself. And I have a friend who's a partner, a financial partner in Toronto, big fan, and very well off, so to speak, and he wanted to be a part of it. So the four of us, the two gentlemen from Starship Farragut, myself and my partner in Toronto, came together as a partnership, and we are funding what's happening. Now, Starship Farragut is already pretty much, they've done their part. They built this bridge, which is the one you saw in the pictures. It's breathtaking. But that's all there is. What about the transport room? What about the big long corridor? What about the briefing room? What about the briefing room table? What about the sick bay? Sick bay beds?
What about the manga library?
There's plenty to do, plenty to build. And not to mention the facility.
It's huge. I mean, 10,000 square feet, that's like a number that you can say, but to really imagine how large a facility it is, I mean, this is a big place.
Yeah.
You know, it's big enough.
Yeah, and that's cost a big bit too. And I will just go ahead and say, in the presence of you guys here, any of you guys that are interested in helping out, we would be more than welcome. But what I will tell you one thing right now, there are fan series out there who are constantly begging for money, and I promised myself, I told the other guys, we are not going to ask. We're not going to put up on our website, please send donations. We're not going to do that. If anybody wants to help us, we will be happy for it. We are not going to ask for it on the internet. We're just going to do it ourselves. We'll do it, And I'm committed to doing whatever I need to do. And so are the other guys. That's the cool thing. We're all successful at what we do, and we've waited however many years since we were little kids, and we've had jobs and careers, and built our lives up to the point where we can actually put money into something that we have a great passion for. So that's what we're doing. I don't expect to make a penny off of it. I don't want to make a penny off of it. I just want to play Star Trek with my friends.
Todd, can you do your impersonation of Spock saying fascinating?
Fascinating.
You sound smarter already.
What if you said, can you do your impression of Spock of how you're going to do it? And Vic's like, let it rip. I'm like, what?
I see a new episode right there. I decided we had a different episode. We're doing a chorus line in space. Question.
In Star Trek continues, are you going to...
Sorry, there's a whole band playing behind us.
Hold the mic a little closer. Are you going to try to portray the cast as the original cast did, or are you going to add your own twist to the characters?
Well, let me put it this way, and there's a danger. You don't want to imitate because then it kind of comes off cheesy. So I'm not going to do that kind of thing. I'm just like, no.
That's what I want.
No, he's wanting me to do it. But what I want to do is, I want us to honor the original actors. That's the best word. I want us to honor them. In fact, I'll tell you a little secret. When we were shooting one of the vignettes that we're going to be premiering shortly in August, Grant Imahara has this big section. And he started, and I literally had to say, Grant, let's pull back the George Takei just a little bit. Because it's very easy for it to feel like you're kind of imitating the personality as opposed to playing the character, you know?
Yeah, it's sprinkles of what is iconic about these people, you know?
Right.
It's just because we're not going to have the stamina to just imitate like that. It's not going to match the authenticity of what we're trying to do because we're just trying to put on a shell of what is already existing. So you take what the essence of the character and then you fill it with your own stuff. So you look at it, you can see, it's kind of like in the new JJ movie or whatever, they have the essence of these guys, but they were making it clearly their own with how they're doing it. So I think that's what we're trying to do.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, Mike. Oh, here, go ahead.
So I was curious, you said that you're building all of these huge sets, these props and everything. After the series is done, what are you guys going to do with this? Since you can't sell it for profit or anything, are you guys going to take this home with you? How's that going to work?
Blow it up, baby. 5-camera shoot.
Yeah, we'll do an episode where it's all destroyed.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a fire.
You know what? Actually, we're just getting started, so I'm not even thinking about ending. But I can tell you this: there are a lot of applications that we've been thinking of for these sets. I tend to think, Steve, you tell me if I'm wrong. I tend to think that there are tens of thousands of people out there, our age, maybe even younger people, if they knew that there was a place they could go and walk through the original sets and take photos of them sitting in that captain's chair. They would go there. So I think that that's the kind of thing that people would want to go and take tours of. I can see it being the kind of place people would want to go and get married on the bridge, or right, and have a reception in the briefing room. I would see it as a place maybe a corporation would want to have a corporate event. I mean, there are any number of possibilities once you build something like that. And so I see it as having several applications just beside the production. Oh no, I don't think it will vanish. And a lot of work has been put into it, so I don't see us ending anytime soon.
Do you intend to recreate the original series, or are you going to come up with different series altogether?
Well, we're going to continue where the original series left off. As we all know, it was a 5-year mission, right? They only had 3 years, 3 seasons. So you could theoretically say that we are starting starting season 4, year 4 of the 5-year mission. So I would see us at least, for the conceivable short-term future, to do 6 episodes, to do a series of episodes for year 4, and then go into year 5. We will start integrating things that you'll see in Next Generation, like things that they will start, things that you know exist in the future. Well, they had to meet the Cardassians somewhere, right? See what I'm saying? They had to, when did the holodeck show up? Any number of things that were just SOP, standard operating procedure in Next Gen. But somewhere along the line, that technology or those alien cultures, they had to meet them. And those things had to be built or created. And technology had to advance. I'm going to even I can't believe I'm doing it, but I get so excited I can't stand it. I'll let you know a little teeny secret. There's a guy who has designed a phaser that at first glance looks just like this. But when you look at it, if you really look at it, it's got a whole bunch of sleek, new, curved edges, and The electronics on the top look more like Next Generation. So what it's doing is it's starting to take the technology toward where we know it's going to go, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to shoot a vignette introducing this new phaser as the series, as our series phaser. And so little things like that we'll be able to integrate to kind of move it forward and take it into the future. Yes, and as far as episode, we're looking for people who know how to write Star Trek, and that's no small task. There's something very unique about the original series episodes. They're so out of the box thinking. You know what I mean? It was like whoever came up with this idea where like Kirk is down on all fours winging like a mule and there's a midget on his back riding him. Who thinks of this crap? You know what I mean? Who comes up with this stuff? This creature made of silicon who burrows through solid rock, and this mining colony breaks into the nursery, and they think these little round nodules are cool little rocks, and they turn out to be eggs from this creature. I mean, who comes up with this stuff? That's what we want to do.
Well, I think that's what was funny about watching Shatner play Kirk, is because you think, because everyone has a Kirk impression that they do, but if you really think about what he's doing and what he's saying, really, I can't see another way you would play that kind of stuff. I mean, it's so out there and so wild that he actually did a pretty good job, I think.
Yeah.
He did a really...
And then one of the most famous episodes where the transporter accident split Kirk in two. And he beams up and he's a little queasy, but they take him out of this transporter room, and 30 seconds later, another Kirk beams up, and it's this evil, aggressive, lustful, guy that's just the opposite of the very quiet, docile side. And they explore, that's the thing about Star Trek that so many fan series completely miss. Fan series, most of them that I've seen, they shoot phasers and they fly the ships around. Oh, look, there's the Klingons, but they never go any deeper. Everything is surface stereotype. And yet the original series was all about the relationships with the characters. And it was all these morality tales. They would take on social issues of the day, but they would couch them in some kind of an amazing story and have a real point and a real ethic and a real moral to the story. We want to do those kind of stories. And I dare say, most fan series shy away from those kind of things, primarily because they're not actors. So they would not dare try to do something that would force them to try to go that deep, dramatically. But secondly, because those things are hard to find. Those kind of stories are hard to find. People that can write stuff like that anymore. Yes, darling?
Todd, I know that you worked and you were Sulu in another.
Yes.
What's the difference between being Sulu and being Spock?
Oh, I think the biggest difference for how I play it is that Sulu is kind of I don't know how you would say, it's kind of more of your, first of all, he's full Asian. That's weird for me. But with Spock, the thing about it is the way you play, because everyone thinks Spock is this emotionless robot. And what I think is something completely different. I think that he is actually full of a lot of these emotions that you don't see, but they're just under the surface, and he's always keeping them in check. So when we shot the vignette, the promo stuff, that's the kind of stuff that I'm thinking about as I'm creating this character, because it makes it, number one, a fun challenge for me, but also I think it helps guide my path as that character, and it's not, so then it's not, me playing Leonard Nimoy playing Spock. It's me understanding and breaking down what Spock actually is and what that means to go through his daily struggles as someone who is half human, trying to deal with the things that he can't get rid of. Whereas Sulu is, he's ready to sweat and fight with a sword at all times. And Spock is not a swashbuckler like that.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you guys something. Spock is the hardest character to play. Because, I've actually talked to other people who have played Mr. Spock in other fan series, and they have literally said to me, I don't really like playing Spock because he's so boring. He's just like all flat. I'm like, you don't understand Mr. Spock. You should not be playing the character. Because, exactly like Todd said, Spock's dilemma is that he's the most complex character to play. Because he experiences all these emotions, but he keeps them completely controlled and under the surface. So that's why I wanted somebody who really was a good actor and did it. Yeah?
Speaking about the, I don't know how you think about like chip battles and stuff like that. Do you like doing any like models, like stuff like that, or do you, or do you do any of that, or is it, I know I said you want to focus on.
I'm glad you asked, actually. We will be using CGI, not models, because honestly, even though they use models in the original series, it's way too difficult and complicated and costly. However, so we will be using CGI, but no, my intention is that the effects are going to look, they'll look great. And let me tell you something else that I think you guys might find fascinating. Standard television nowadays is 16 by 9, right? The rectangular, right? Well, the original series, when they shot that series, was 4 by 3. It's more square, like this. All of the fan series nowadays, they shoot at 16 by 9. Well, the problem with that is you can't get the same shots that the original series got. You just can't do it. The composition is completely different. So we are going to be shooting our series in 4 by 3. It's going to be in the original shape of the original series, which will make it feel and look so much like the original series.
Told you he was authentic.
Yes?
You were saying before that with your series, it's going to start showing like little crazy stuff, showing the next generation. Is there a possibility that characters from next generation show up as minor characters? Like their little origins? Not like a part of like formed.
Yeah, part of an afro, yes. You know what, I will tell you this, guys. I have had the privilege of becoming very good friends with Marina Sirtis and Brent Spiner and LeVar Burton and Michael Dorn and, oh my gosh, out of my head, John Delancey. We've done several conventions together and become friends. And it would not be the least bit surprising to me if at some point I could say to Brent Spiner, hey, we're doing this thing, look what we've built, and it's awful fun. Would you be interested in coming and doing something? I don't see any reason why they would. I will tell you a little secret too. When I do a lot of pop culture conventions where I spend time with mainstream actors, a lot of them are Star Trek fans. I mean, original series like me. And I've shown them some pictures from our series, what we're doing, and they're like, I want to be in this. I want to do something. Can I just come and be a part of it? What? Brent? No, he didn't, but you know who did? Lou Ferrigno.
Oh.
Stop being smashed.
Lou, no, don't rip the universe.
But I mean, point being that I know and I've met and become friends with a lot of people that are mainstream, well-known people who would love to be a part of what we're doing. So I think the sky's the limit as far as actors that may be involved at some point. Richard Hatch from Battlestar Galactica and I have become good buddies, and he's basically told me, anything you ever want me to do, Nick, if you want me to play a role, I'll be there. So, yes.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. This is kind of a question for both of you. I know that you, obviously, when you do anime, you don't really interact with one directed, and, because you're, in a booth, in an isolation booth. So
It sounded like you said you're in a boo, like you're in a ghost's boo. He goes, okay, get in the record real quick.
I assume then, so you you previously have a working relationship?
I mean, like with each other?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's the friendship that we built. It's the friendship that we built from doing events together.
And it's the ass kicking we've given each other over the years. And those are the ties that bind.
How do you think this year is building your, relationship or in your bill or?
I mean, I think the thing about it is with Vic and I feel like we, particularly with our dynamic, is we come together on a set. Something we get it. Like we just get in there and we make it happen, and it's very. I don't know. It's easy. It's hard work. We're not showing up and having mimosas, and shooting from like 10 to 3, and then we're like, oh man, I'm tired. Let's call it a day and play some video games. No, we're busting ass for 12, 13 hours a day. He was working he pulls double duty because he's Kirk. He also directs it, edits it. He's doing QC and all that stuff. But when we get together in regards to how we operate, when we're on set and stuff like that, I feel like we do very well. We get a lot of.
Well, Todd and I both have a great deal of production experience in our background. My degree was in film, and I've been producing and directing and shooting and editing, doing everything related to film and video production for many years. Todd as well. So
the last project I produced was the tribute video that I hope you saw. That someone needs to. How many people think Vic needs to see the video?
I very intentionally seen the video. How many of you have seen Todd of the Rings? Yeah. We're enough of you. You need to go check that out.
I was talking about it today. I told them.
Yeah, you need to see it. You guys, you know what? We're burning time. Let's take just a couple. Who thinks they've got a good trivia question? I may need one. Who thinks they have a good trivia question? You think you have a good one? Original series. Okay, hit me. Oh, I hate that. It was a minute. Oh, really? He uses the phasers. He drains the phaser. Oh, fire!
It's supposed to shoot hydrochloric acid. It's very diluted, but it's supposed to shoot.
Open your mouth. It shoots back up. Any other question? Okay, wait a minute. Now, this guy's a pro, so this is probably I'm probably going to get tested here.
Oh, okay.
The episode of Cage. What was the name of the doctor? Ooh. I know that. Hold on. Wasn't it? Oh, wasn't it Dr. Boyle? Boys! I was so close. Oh, you got me. Captain Kirk is scarred for life. Yes, my dear. Episode where Spock has intimacy with a lady. I know that episode. Do you know the answer? I'm quite certain the episode is This Side of Paradise. Okay, I'm going to go better. What was the girl's name?
Oh gosh.
Jennifer Lopez.
Just so you know what a nerd I am. What's the lady's name?
Halle Berry.
No.
Punch yourself in the face.
Her name was Layla Colombian. And what was the name of the planet? It was Omicron Stagey 3. And what was the name of the guy that ran the whole thing? That ran the colony? Elias Sandoval. All right, now we know what a nerd I am, right? Okay. What's sad is, I can quote the freaking episode. When I was little, here's what I would do, you guys. When I was little, I would sit my cassette recorder. All you people that are over 30, you know what I'm talking about. It has these little plastic cases, and they have tape inside, and they record sound. And they were brought to us by elves. I used to sit it by the television speaker, and every day when Star Trek was on, I would record the episode on an audio cassette. And the trumpet case. And I had the trumpet case partitioned in 3 sections for first, second, third season. And I would write the little title, and then I would go to bed at night, and I would put the cassette player under my pillow and go to sleep listening to the episodes. So I just ingested these episodes. Remember the scene in that episode? What's your name, sweetheart? Katrina, remember the scene when Kirk realized that he needed Mr. Spock to build the thing, to counteract the Spore's power, and so he asked him to come up and help him move some equipment, and Spock beams in, and he's like, all right, you mutinous, disloyal, computerized half-breed, we'll see about you deserting my ship. And he goes Spock, and he's getting angry because it's anger that counteracts overrides the power and the influence of the Spores.
I hate Spores, man.
Yeah, you should. And then when they're standing around the captain's chair at the end, and Kirk looks at Spock and says, "We haven't heard much from you about Omicron 83, Mr. Spock." And he says, "I don't have much to say, Captain, except for the first time in my life."